All right, so are you ready to dive into something really interesting today?
Absolutely. Always ready for a deep dive.
Okay, great. Let's talk GoatTapper.
Okay.
So GoatTapper is this really fascinating project,
Yeah.
and it's kind of making waves in the crypto world right now.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah, and it's this really wild fusion of a tap-to-earn gaming with real estate investment opportunities.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
Yeah, it really is kind of mind-blowing, and I think that a lot of our listeners probably haven't seen anything quite like this before.
I think you're right, and the way they're combining those two things is really innovative.
Yeah, definitely. And they're not just talking about bridging the digital and the physical worlds like we hear from a lot of projects.
Right, they're actually doing it,
They're actually doing it.
putting it into practice.
Yeah, and they've got this upcoming airdrop, which is generating a lot of buzz too.
Oh yeah, for sure. A lot of people are really excited about that.
Yeah, so we'll get into that a little bit later, but I think first we need to kind of unpack this whole thing for our listeners so they can really understand what's going on here.
Sounds good.
So imagine this, right?
Yeah.
You just sitting there, on your phone, probably like you are right now listening to this, and you're tapping away at this game. But instead of just racking up, kind of useless points or whatever, you're actually earning a piece of a real building.
It's wild.
I know it's wild. It's almost like playing Monopoly, but for real.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it. And you know what's interesting is the way that they've designed the in-game economics.
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
So they've got this kind of conservative earning pace built in,
Okay.
which means that, you're not going to earn just tons and tons of points super quickly.
Right.
It's designed to kind of maintain the value of the points that people earn, unlike some other games, where the points can inflate like crazy and they become worthless, basically.
Right. Like they're trying to avoid that whole like hyperinflationary spiral that we've seen in other projects.
Exactly. They're trying to keep things sustainable.
Yeah. So it's not just about that instant gratification. You're not going to be a millionaire overnight playing this game.
It's more like you're actually investing in something real.
Right. And building something over time.
Exactly.
And the cool part is those points that you're earning,
Mm.
they're not just for bragging rights or anything like that.
No. You can actually use them to bid on fractional ownership of tokenized real estate.
What?
That's right.
That's awesome.
So they have these things called gate drop auctions.
Okay.
And in these auctions, players can use their in-game points to bid on fractional ownership of a property.
Wow.
So, picture this. You're going head to head with other players,
Okay.
and you're using your points to try to snag a piece of like a luxury condo in Dubai or something.
Wait, so I could go from tapping goats on my phone
Yeah.
to owning a piece of a skyscraper.
It is pretty amazing, isn't it?
That's crazy.
And what's even cooler is that these tokenized assets are super liquid, so you can easily buy, sell, or trade them on different platforms.
Oh, wow.
It's like they've taken the illiquidity out of real estate, which is a big deal for investors.
Yeah, that's huge. So you're not stuck with a property that, you can't get rid of.
Exactly. It gives you a lot more flexibility.
Wow. Okay, so we've got this awesome game. We've got real estate up for grabs. But where does the GTPR meme coin fit into all of this?
Oh, yeah, good question.
Is it just a funny name or is there more to it?
Oh, there's definitely more to it. The GTPR token is kind of the engine that runs the whole GoatTapper ecosystem.
Okay.
It's not just a meme coin riding the wave of popularity. It actually has real utility within the platform.
Okay, I like that utility. That's important.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for example, you need GTPR tokens to buy those in-game boosters to help you level up faster.
Makes sense.
And you also need them to participate in those goat drop auctions.
Right.
And to unlock premium features within the game.
So it's really kind of the key that unlocks all the cool stuff.
Exactly.
Very cool. And it's not just about spending, it's about earning too, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Players can earn GTPR tokens through different activities and achievements in the game.
I like that.
And they even have this really cool referral program
Oh, yeah, tell me about that.
where you can earn even more GTPR by inviting your friends to join.
Oh, that's a smart strategy.
Yeah, it's really clever. They're leveraging that power of community and, word of mouth marketing
Absolutely.
to get people excited about the project and, incentivize users to spread the word.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of getting in early, I know there's a lot of buzz around this upcoming GoatTapper airdrop.
Yeah, that's right.
Can you give our listeners a rundown of what's happening there?
Absolutely. So basically, it's a chance for people to get their hands on some GTPR tokens before they're listed on exchanges.
Okay.
Kind of like an exclusive pre-sale
Got it.
for the early birds.
And what's the launch price and market cap looking like?
All right, so the launch price is set at a really accessible 0.1 third, and the initial market cap is $10 million.
All right, and it's important to note here that they've got a multifaceted revenue model,
Oh, yeah, that's important.
right, to kind of ensure this project's long-term sustainability.
Right. It's not just a one-trick pony.
Yeah, they've got revenue coming in from in-game purchases, the auction fees,
Hmm.
and they're even looking at potential sponsorships down the road.
Yeah. It seems like they're really thinking about the long term.
Yeah, which I like, nobody wants to invest in something that's just going to disappear in a few months.
Right. They're building a real business here.
Exactly. And they're doing it all within a framework that's designed for compliance and sustainability.
That's a good point, especially in the crypto world, which, can be a bit of a wild west sometimes.
Right. So it sounds like they're trying to strike a balance between innovation and responsibility.
I think that's a really good way to put it. And, that's something that's really important for investors to see.
Absolutely. It builds trust and shows that they're in it for the long haul.
Exactly.
Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. So we've laid the groundwork here,
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
but there's a lot more to unpack. So stay tuned and we'll be right back after a quick break.
It definitely does. It's good to see a project thinking about that side of things.
Yeah, for sure. So, we've talked about what they're doing, but let's talk about the team behind it for a minute. Who are these masterminds trying to merge tapping goats in real estate?
Well, the sources that we've looked at, they don't really go deep into like specific bios for each team member,
Okay.
but you can kind of read between the lines a little bit. Their actions kind of speak for themselves.
Right.
This focus on, compliance and building a sustainable project and forging these partnerships, it tells you they're serious.
It shows they're not just in it for a quick buck, right?
Exactly. They're playing the long game.
Yeah, and they've also got a really detailed roadmap,
Yeah.
laying out their plans
Right.
for the future.
It's good to see that.
And we're talking about the game launch, getting the GTPR coin listed on exchanges, that first big goat drop auction, even plans to expand into other types of assets down the road.
It's impressive, right?
It's very ambitious.
They've got big plans.
But, with any investment, there are always risks.
Oh, of course.
What do you see as some of the potential bumps in the road, or maybe even red flags for GoatTapper?
Yeah, that's the big question, right? I mean, there are always going to be risks, especially in a field like this that's so new and innovative.
Right.
One thing that comes to mind is the regulatory landscape.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That's always a moving target.
Exactly. And, even though they're aiming for compliance, those rules around tokenized assets and fractional ownership, they're still being figured out.
Right.
So there's always a chance that regulations could change in a way that impacts the project,
It's like we're still in the early innings of this whole game, right?
Exactly.
And things could change quickly.
Another risk, of course, is the volatility of the crypto market in general. I mean, even if GoatTapper does everything perfectly, the value of GTPR could go up and down just because of, market sentiment.
Yeah, that's the nature of the beast.
Exactly.
Crypto can be a roller coaster.
Yeah, investors need to be prepared for that and never invest more than they can afford to lose.
That's rule number one, right?
Absolutely.
Don't bet the farm.
And then there's execution risk, too. Even with the best intentions, sometimes teams run into unexpected challenges or they have trouble delivering on their promises.
That's true.
So, investors need to really look closely at the team's track records, their experience, their ability to overcome obstacles.
So, like any early stage investment, there's a leap of faith involved.
Some degree, yeah.
But it's all about weighing the potential rewards against the risks.
Exactly.
So let's talk rewards for a second.
Okay.
What does the best case scenario look like for GoatTapper?
Okay, well, imagine a world where GoatTapper becomes like the go-to platform for tokenized real estate. Millions of players are tapping away, earning points, battling it out in those goat drop auctions for properties all over the world.
I like it.
The GTPR token becomes like a hot commodity, and its value just skyrockets.
It's like the ultimate convergence of gaming and real estate and crypto.
I know, right? And it's not just a fantasy either.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, the demand for alternative investments is huge right now, and tokenized assets are really gaining traction.
So they're in the right place at the right time.
Exactly.
But every coin has two sides.
Sure.
Let's talk about the flip side. What could go wrong?
Okay, so worst case scenario, the project just doesn't gain traction,
Okay.
Maybe the game isn't as fun as they thought, or the token doesn't get listed on the big exchanges, or the options just don't generate enough interest.
Or they hit a wall with regulations, or the team runs into a problem they can't solve.
Exactly. And in those situations, the value of GTPR could plummet, investors could lose money.
So there's a wide range of potential outcomes here,
Definitely.
from boom to bust.
That's the crypto world for you.
All right, so taking all of that into consideration, the
Yeah.
good, the bad, and the ugly, what's your overall take on GoatTapper?
Well, it's definitely a super interesting project.
Yeah.
It has a lot of potential. They're tapping into some big trends and they're offering a solution to a real need,
Right.
but it's still early stage and that comes with risks.
So this is for investors who can handle a little bit of risk
Yeah, for sure, not for the faint of heart.
and who really believe in the long-term vision.
Exactly.
So do your research, folks.
Absolutely, that's key.
This is not financial advice.
We're just here to give you the info.
Right. This is the deep dive. We just try to give you the insights you need to navigate this crazy world of crypto
Exactly.
and make your own informed decisions.
And on that note,
Yeah.
let's zoom out a little bit and look at the bigger picture.
Okay.
What does GoatTapper tell us about how the investment landscape is changing?
For me, it shows that the lines between the digital and the physical worlds are getting blurrier and blurrier.
Yeah, I agree.
And we're seeing more and more projects that are trying to bridge that gap. And I think GoTapper is a really interesting example of what that can look like.
Yeah. It really is kind of mind-blowing when you think about it, right?
Totally. And it's not just about merging these two worlds. It's about democratizing real estate investment,
Hmm.
you know?
Oh, yeah. Tell me more about that.
Well, traditionally, you needed like a ton of money and lawyers and all this stuff just to even think about owning property, right?
Yeah, it's a whole big thing.
But GoTapper is like, hey, anyone can get in on this, even if you only have a little bit to invest.
It's fractional ownership, but like on a whole other level.
Exactly. Instead
Yeah.
of pooling your money with a bunch of other people to buy a whole property, you could own like a tiny sliver of a building.
And potentially for like the price of a cup of coffee.
Right.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing the possibilities that it opens up.
Yeah, I mean, imagine someone who's never even dreamed of owning a piece of real estate.
Right.
Suddenly, they can build this diverse portfolio all through a game on their phone. It's pretty revolutionary when you think about it.
It's like they're turning real estate into a tradable commodity, almost like stocks or bonds.
Yeah, kind of. And that's where the blockchain comes in, right?
The magic of tokenization.
Exactly. By tokenizing these assets, they're creating this super transparent and liquid market.
So you're not stuck with a physical property that's a pain to sell.
Exactly. You can trade those tokenized shares on a secondary market just like you would Bitcoin.
Wow, so much easier than dealing with real estate agents and closing costs and all that.
Right. It's a game changer.
Yeah, it has the potential to really shake things up.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about it. This could attract a flood of new investors to real estate,
Right.
drive down transaction costs, make the market more efficient. It's huge.
Well, what happens if things go wrong?
Mm-hmm.
What if there's a dispute over ownership or something happens with the property itself?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And honestly, that's an area where the legal and regulatory systems are still catching up.
Right, it's all so new.
Exactly. So we need clear rules and safeguards in place to protect investors.
Yeah, make sure everything is legit.
Right. And that those tokenized assets actually hold up in the real world.
It's like we're in uncharted territory here.
Kind of, yeah. It's
Yeah.
like the Wild West. But as this technology matures and the regulations catch up, I think we're going to see more solutions to address these issues.
I hope so, because that would really help build trust in this whole new asset class.
Oh, absolutely. Trust is key.
Okay, so we've talked about real estate, we've talked about the crypto landscape.
Uh-huh.
What about the bigger picture?
Okay.
How does GoTapper's approach fit into the evolution of cryptocurrency?
I think it really shows how versatile blockchain technology is. We're moving beyond just digital currencies and payments into all sorts of different applications.
It's like crypto is finally growing up.
I love that analogy. It's shedding that rebellious image and becoming more mature and responsible.
And tokenization seems to be a big part of that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's a powerful tool for unlocking all sorts of possibilities.
It's not just real estate either.
Right. No, not at all. We're seeing tokenization used for art and collectibles and intellectual property, even carbon credits.
It's like the whole world is becoming tokenized.
It is, and it's exciting. It's like we're building this internet of value where everything is connected.
And it creates so many opportunities for investment and innovation.
Exactly, and I think we're just scratching the surface.
That's what makes it so exciting.
Yeah, for sure. As this technology keeps developing, we're going to see even more creative and transformative applications pop up.
Okay, so much to think about. We've explored the impact on real estate, the implications for crypto, and this massive shift towards tokenization.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Any final thoughts for our listeners before we wrap up?
I think the key takeaway from all of this is that the future of investing is going to look radically different from the past.
Right, it's a whole new ballgame.
Exactly. We're entering this era of democratization and fractionalization